definitely utilize it for the landmine exercises. But if it doesn't have it, there's a very, very easy way for us to rig it up. All you would need is a barbell and a corner. And if you're worried about marking up the corner, if it's maybe at your home or it's at a gym where you really want to be respectful of that space, you can just take a rag and put it into the corner such that it doesn't scrape up the wall. And then you're going to take the barbell. You're going to load that barbell so it can be pressed into the corner and rotate from there. You'll then perform the landmine exercise as we'll demonstrate in the videos, but you'll just be doing it in a pivot in the corner of the room. Hope this helps.
Another key concept in strength training is specificity, which is often referred to as the SAID principle. SAID stands for specific adaptation to an imposed demand. And all that really means is that our body will respond and adapt specifically to the exact stress that we place upon it. That sounds like fancy common sense, because it is. If we want a world record back squat, we need to perform more back squats, not bicep curls. But it's very easy to go overboard with specificity and take it way too far. Oftentimes on social media and Instagram, we'll see BJJ athletes trying to perform funky banded variations that mimic exactly what they're performing on the mats. But if the only thing that mattered was specificity, I wouldn't have a job and strength and conditioning coaches would not exist. The only thing that we would do is our sport. Obviously, that's not the case, and we can do far more than that. What we're trying to really replicate in the gym is the muscular work as opposed to the exact muscular action. Something like a well-executed barbell back squat is going to transfer to any sport or any athlete regardless of what they're doing. So instead, a better way to look at this concept is transfer. What type of training off the mats and in the weight room is going to best transfer to our jiu-jitsu performance? Sometimes that means attempting to mimic the movements that we're performing on the mats, and it should be very similar and very specific. Sometimes that is not the case, and often we're trying to perform the exact opposite type of movements or muscular actions when we're in the weight room. We always make transfer our number one priority when we provide programs, and we're confident that this template will improve your BJJ performance.
So now I want to go over some more advanced methods or customization of this program. In general, we really want to take time at first to learn the movements and then making sure we're training at an adequate effort level. And I really can't stress that second point enough. If we're really training at that proximity to failure, we won't need a ton of junk volume, as we call it, thrown into the program to fluff it up. We take a couple bang for our buck exercises, which is what this whole program is about. We train them with that high degree of effort. We make sure that they work well with our body, and we've got those pro and regressions to help you do that. And from there, it's really just about getting as much as you can out of each individual set, instead of focusing on doing as much as you can throughout an entire workout. So, if you are a bit more advanced and you would like to, you could do things like supersetting the upper body pressing and pulling motions on each day. If you're a little bit pressed for time and you want to go through in a way that's still effective, but it's a little bit more efficient time-wise, you can go ahead and do that. Another thing that we'll allow is 10 minutes of free time at the end of each session if you have particular things you want to focus on. Maybe you're rehabbing an injury and an area got particularly weak and you need to focus on that, or there's just certain things that you like to do, feel free. But I really want to emphasize that it's only 10 minutes, right? You can get through some of these workouts in 45, 50 minutes, sure, but we shouldn't be adding an additional 45 or 50 minutes on top. And if you're getting through faster than that, then I really recommend that you go back and check out the section on rest periods and Bryce's section on reps in reserve, so that you can really make sure that you are applying an appropriate stimulus to the body and not just trying to do as much as you can in one session.
Our first exercise in the hinge progression is a dumbbell Romanian deadlift. Hinge exercises are any movement that involve flexion and extension of the hips, like a door hinge, with the major muscle groups involved being the hamstrings and glutes. So Coach Turner has a stance that's very narrow, right underneath his hips, what we would refer to as a power stance, with his hands straight down from his shoulders. He's going to try to maintain as much of a neutral or natural spinal posture as possible without rounding or arching excessively. He's going to push his hips back and away, keeping the dumbbells very close to the body until the hamstrings are tight. When your hamstrings are tight, that's the very bottom of the movement that we drive through the hips and heels to come back up to a standing position. Notice he's keeping a long spine position, a lot of space between his head and hips. Everyone's range of motion will vary, but as long as we can get somewhere to the kneecaps or lower, as you can see, Coach Turner's range of motion is very good. As long as we can get somewhere in the neighborhood of the knee, we're good to go.
Our second progression for the hinge movement pattern on day one is the barbell Romanian deadlift, or RDL. Now what you're going to notice, a lot of these movement patterns have a lot of overlapping characteristics. So just like the dumbbell variation that I was just demonstrating, Coach Bryce is going to maintain a neutral spine, he's going to maintain a vertical shin throughout, and he's aiming to go down until he feels a stretch in the hamstrings and then come back up. Now a major difference here is that we really want to stress that this barbell is staying in close. He's really keeping it in close and over his laces as he moves through this movement. You'll also notice that unlike a lot of other barbell variations, this is a top-down movement. We're starting from the top, progressing down until he feels a stretch in the hamstrings, and then coming back up from there.
Our final day one hinge progression is the snatch grip Romanian deadlift. Snatch grip refers to a wider grip, and you can see that Coach Turner's grip is significantly wider than his shoulders. A good rule of thumb is that the bar should be somewhere in the neighborhood of your hip crease, right where your body folds, as opposed to normally being mid-thigh for a regular RDL. All of the other cues are going to be the same. We have a narrow power stance, the bar stays extremely close to the body, and as Coach Turner sits his hips back, he's maintaining a neutral, natural curvature of his spine and a vertical shin position the entire time. Especially as the weight gets heavier and as the exercise gets harder, many people tend to want to try to turn the hinge into a squat and really move through the knees or the knees track forward. All we're trying to do here is keep a vertical shin position with the knee staying right over the ankle and moving through the hips like we're bowing or sitting our hips back as opposed to squatting.
The first progression in our vertical pressing movement pattern for day one will be the half kneeling dumbbell single arm overhead press. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it fully explains what's going on here. Coach Bryce is in that half kneeling position. He's holding the dumbbell in the opposite arm as the leg that's forward. He brings it up to the shoulder. And notice he has his hips forward here. He's in a nice strong position. He doesn't have this leg too far out to the side. It's straight out in front and he has relatively vertical shin. From here, we're going to keep something close to a neutral grip. We don't want the elbow winging out to the side, right? He's got his elbow out forward. And from there, he will then